Okay, hello. I am currently outside in Toronto Island on Centre Island, and I thought I should record a video. I'm a little nervous because it is in public and I've never publicly filmed before, but trying to break past embarrassment and my fears. So if you see me looking around, it's probably because I'm looking at people who might be looking at me, though I'm sure that nobody cares about what I'm doing and it's not a big deal. But I'm just a little nervous. I accidentally cut myself off, but yeah. So I wanted to make a video about my spiritual journey so far and my experience taking shrooms, because it has a big, connection to my spiritual journey. It just happened, so I'm just going to talk about my experience a little bit and then also talk about my spiritual journey and my progression. So I'm really new to everything. I just kind of started exploring my spirituality in a more, with more specific effort recently. Okay, let's just do it because otherwise I'm not gonna do this, so let's just start. So anyways, on the strawberry moon, I took shrooms for the first time with my sisters. I guess for legal purposes, I didn't take shrooms, and this is a joke, and this is just acting. But yeah, so on the strawberry moon, which was June 24th, and it was a full moon in Capricorn, I took shrooms for the first time. And I was really excited. This is something I've been wanting to try for maybe a year now. I've actually thought about trying for a year now. And my sisters and I have spoken about doing it together for a while now. So I knew I was gonna try it with them first. I'd also had conversations about it with my friends, but ultimately I knew I wanted to do it with my sisters. One thing I will say is I do suggest doing it. They say that, your experience with shrooms is really affected by who you're with and where you are. So I did it at home with my sisters and I felt really comfortable and safe. And I would suggest doing it either alone or with people that you really love and trust. I think that it's easy to want to do it with your friends because it's a really cool experience if it's a good experience. But just because of kind of how introspective and spiritual for me my shrooms journey was, I really appreciated being with my sisters because then I felt comfortable to go off alone and do my own thing. And I would say if you feel like you're going to feel obligated to stick around and talk to people and experience things together, and if that's not what you want, I would say just do it alone. It's not scary by yourself. I think it was the best choice for me. And I think we also aren't always very honest with each other or with ourselves when it comes to whether we're actually super comfortable with people. And it doesn't say anything about your friends, to think you're not comfortable doing a very powerful drug around them. I don't think that that's, a mark on who they are, and it doesn't say anything about them. I was honest with my friends afterwards and I told them that, shrooms is not something I would ever do with them or with any of my friends. I would only ever do it with my sisters or by myself. And that's because I know for certain that I would be fine with my sisters, and I know for certain I'd be fine by myself. So you have to be honest because it is an experience. It's a very strong and impactful feeling, and you want it to go as well as it can. So just be honest with yourselves in terms of who you're going to do it with and whether you're comfortable doing it with people or whether it'd actually probably be best to do it alone. So yeah, I did it with my sisters, but most of the night I spent by myself, kind of just experiencing things. So I wanted to first say that the first thing I would say about my experience is that I needed to let go of control. I watched not a lot, but I watched some videos beforehand of other people's experiences, and I had an idea of what it might be like to do shrooms. and I was really like focusing on like the idea of like hallucinating and like seeing things and like having a really like crazy experience, like spiritual experience where you like meet God or something. And so I was really like focusing my whole trip around that. And I realized, and I was missing out on a lot of things that were actually happening because I was like, well, when is this gonna happen? And so I think that one of the main things I would say or suggest is that you just kind of let go of control. Don't have any expectations for yourself. Don't feel sad if you don't see God or the grid in the sky or whatever, you know, if you're looking for that type of experience, or if you don't hallucinate, because I didn't hallucinate, not that I know of. I think I saw it. Everything I saw, I feel like was actually there. Yeah, so your experience is going to be your own, and it's based off of what you need in your life and all of that. So I would just say trust the process. Don't be afraid. I was nervous. I had a lot of anxiety going into it, and I felt, yeah, very anxious at the very beginning once we had taken it, and I was also feeling nauseous. So that put my feelings over the roof, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to go be alone so I can calm myself down and feel okay. And even while I was feeling anxious, I knew I would be fine. One, because my sisters were there, and if anything went wrong, like, I had them. But also because when you get high on shrooms, you're not high in the sense where like you're not in control of yourself. Like, you're very much still yourself, and I feel like that was something I wasn't prepared for. Like, I thought I was going to be like a weed high, where like your body feels a little bit different, your mind's a little bit different, maybe your mouth is dry or like your heart is racing a little. That's like how I feel sometimes, but I didn't feel any different. I even felt more so myself, more so my natural self. Like, one big thing that I noticed during my experience is that I felt like my true, authentic, maybe like my inner child. I didn't have any self-doubt. I didn't have any anxiety. I didn't have any depression. All the trauma that I had, I was able to think about without feeling traumatized. I was able to just acknowledge that it was there and start to work through it without being put off by it because of how emotionally impactful it was. In that way, I felt like the shrooms, it got rid of all of the roadblocks, the mental roadblocks, the physical roadblocks in your life that stop you. Well, I don't know about physical, I don't know why I said that, but all of the mental roadblocks that like stop you from dealing with shit or getting through life. I told my friends that it kind of felt like it was shadow work, or maybe I told my sisters that. I don't know, probably both. It kind of felt like I was doing shadow work, but remember, or do you know, if you know anything about shadow work, I'm not going to explain this the best because I'm just in the beginning of my spiritual journey, so I'm still learning about all this. But like, shadow work is supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, basically when you are kind of taking the time to go into all of the parts of yourself that you don't like, or all of your trauma. I don't know, like, you're supposed to be unpacking yourself, all of your experiences, why you are the way you are. I don't think it has to be the parts you don't like. I think it's just you're getting in depth with who you are to find out what's at the root of your struggles and kind of heal your trauma. But it's very intense and it's emotionally draining, and I've heard from a lot of people that it can even kind of be depressing. But for me, I felt like I was doing shadow work. I would suggest watching another video on shadow work, not listening to me, because I think I explained that very well. But yeah, I felt like I was doing shadow work, but without the trauma. Like, I didn't feel traumatized by my trauma, and I wasn't scared, and I wasn't depressed. Like, for one thing, and I'm still, it's kind of carried on. Like, I began talking about my experience being sexually assaulted, and I've been thinking about that experience for a while, and I've spoken about it with myself often, but I was able to kind of look at it from a third view, outside perspective, and realize that, because I mean, if anybody's ever experienced that kind of trauma, like sexual violence, you know that it's easy to blame yourself and find all the things where you went wrong and why you weren't able to recognize things, especially if it wasn't super clear cut. And in my experience, it wasn't clear cut. I'm still, you know, there's still a lot of haziness around it, but I was able to look at it from a third person perspective and realize like what it was. I was able to validate myself, confirm my experiences, and I haven't moved on. I mean, that's something that's always going to be something that I'm healing from, but I used to say, or I once said that it felt like I had something taken from me, but I don't feel like that anymore. I feel like I was hurt and in pain, and now I am okay. Like it's something that happened, but I'm not suffering, if that makes sense. So that's just an example of kind of like what I was able to do. And throughout the whole experience, I just kind of had a lot of what I would call profound emotional realizations. Like I've started this spiritual journey kind of on purpose, kind of not on purpose. I started like doing meditations because I don't really remember why I started. It started just this month, just June of 2021. I started doing meditations. Maybe I just wanted to like try it out, or I just wanted to calm down. I probably wanted to open my third eye chakra because I've always been really interested in magic and like the spiritual world. I've always been a spiritual person, but I've never really known all the ins and the outs and all of that stuff. So I think I was probably wanting to open my third eye and just learn about that. And I was also starting this new health journey with like trying to be an alkaline, not trying to be, I am an alkaline vegan for my health. But I guess also, now I guess, you know, you could consider it moral reasons with the planet and stuff, but it's mainly for my health. And obviously there's a lot of vegans who are also spiritual, so I kind of just like got a glimpse of what that world was like, and I started to kind of look into it more. And so I started doing meditations, and then I started working out, and then I started my health thing. And so I've kind of just been on this spiraling journey. And I would say it actually kind of started after, manifestations, that's how it started. So I wanted to quit my job, but first, okay, I would say this actually started when my family got COVID. So my dad caught COVID, and I think we actually think that he caught the Delta variant, so it was really bad, and it was hard on him, and that was really emotionally like traumatizing and a really difficult experience. And so I was already kind of having a bad time, and I had to take off time from work because I had to self-isolate even though I tested negative. So I was spending a lot of time with myself, spending a lot of time alone, and I guess I just ended up and I was thinking about my job, because I worked at this job that I didn't really want to do anymore, and I knew that, and I wanted to explore different things, but I didn't know how. And so I was thinking about that a lot. And then I got this opportunity to get this other job, and I was like, you know what, let me like actually try out this manifestation thing. So I wrote out, like, I did like the 33 times for 3 days in a row manifestation, and I wrote it out, and it happened the day of, or I guess like the first day that I did it. So pretty amazing. There's people here and I'm nervous, but yeah, so it was pretty cool when that happened. I was really excited, and I guess I kind of just spiraled from there, and I was like, you guys, I told my friends, I was like, manifestation's real, it's all happening. And I kind of went through like my big like moment, and then I just kind of got into meditation, I guess, from there. And it's just been a few weeks. I started watching like zodiac readings, which I've always liked zodiacs and horoscopes, but I've never really known how to take them seriously because I wasn't super educated on them. But I guess I got more educated this month, And so I was able to, okay, I need to stop looking around. Nobody's worried about me. I'm just nervous and self-conscious. But anyways, yeah. So what was my point? I'm all over the place. This is going to be a very random video. I'm sorry. I mean, not random, but like chaotic, messy. But anyways, so yeah, I got into manifestations, started doing my manifestations, and that was really fun because I also just kind of got to think about what I wanted out of my life and what I wanted to, you know, spend my energy thinking towards, and it was really cool. And then I also just started thinking more about spirituality. I'm a spiritual person. I believe in terms of like God and things like that. I believe in multiple gods. I believe that all different types of gods exist, depending on what you need or what purpose it is. And I'm not a religious person. I don't connect to any religion particularly, and I don't think I ever will. I was raised Christian, but I'm not Christian. So yeah, I'm just a spiritual person. I believe in the spirit world. I believe we all have souls and spirits, and I believe that your ancestors are there and guide you. So I believe in all of that. And I've always really, really loved the idea of tapping into my personal magic and my powers, and, you know, getting superpowers and feeling enlightened and all of that. All of that really excites me, and it's something I really want out of life. But I just felt disconnected from it. Like I didn't know how to tap in. And my sisters have always told me that, you know, and my mom has always told me that like writing is my power, or like that the power is within me, basically. I already have it. But I'm one of those people where like if I learn something new, or if I'm trying to get into something new, I like deep dive and I try to do all this research, and I'm like become obsessed with like getting everything I need to like do the thing. But I have a hard time accepting that I just already have it, you know. And so that's something I had with my spiritual journey. Like I got crystals, which I actually ended up really liking, but I realized you don't need crystals. But I got crystals. This one is Amazonite, and this one is Rhodoncristine. I don't know, I'll put the words, the names, but I really like them. This one is for healing from sexual trauma. So if you ever wanted a crystal, and if you've experienced that, or maybe somebody you care about has, I would suggest it. I think it's nice to wear. And it kind of feels like you're in a community, because like maybe there's other people who wear this too, and then it's like you've got a connection. So yeah, but what am I talking about? Oh yeah, so I wanted the crystals. I wanted to connect to my spirit guide. I was doing all these meditations, these guided meditations for connecting to your spirit guide. Just basically any and everything I could to like really put myself in the spirit world and the whole spiritual community, because I felt like I was an outsider because I didn't know certain things, and I'm not super educated, and I feel super new to this, even though I've always been a spiritual person. But basically I ended up, during my shrooms experience, okay, back on track, during my shrooms experience, I basically had this realization that like the magic is within you. Like my sisters and my mom always told me, and I'm sure like other people have said, but I like wasn't listening. Literally the magic is within you, and it's so crazy because you think that like you need all of these different tools, and you need to meditate in the silence with your eyes closed and have a clear mind and all of these things. But then, you know, when I was high on shrooms, I was meditating with my eyes fully open. I was singing in my head, and I was dancing, and I was meditating, and I was also doing magic. Like oh my gosh, I can't even explain it. It was the most euphoric and yet like natural I've ever been. And I love to dance, so that's one of those things. I love to dance, I love to sing. Those are things I've always loved. They always bring me peace. I have dancing time as much as I can almost every day, pretty much every day. If I can't get it every day, then like as much as I can. I love to dance. It just brings me such peace, such calm. But like I'm not a dancer, in terms of like a career path, I've never wanted to do that. And like with singing, sometimes I want to be like a singer, but mostly I'm not, you know. But when I was singing and dancing, I felt magic but not in the sense that I thought I would feel it. Like, you know, when you hear about magic and you're like, oh, it's like, you know, like this power, and it's just like for me, it came through like me being able to easily see things for myself, or see my future, or see clear answers. Like, I had so many questions I wanted to get answered on this journey, and I was hoping that I'd be able to connect to my spirit guide, who I thought was like this separate person from me, or not a person obviously, but you know what I mean, like this separate entity from me. Like I had to like call them like they weren't there already. And like I had been doing guided spirit meditations, spirit guide meditations, like guided meditations for a while now. And like you might know the one that's like really trendy on TikTok. I tried that one. I was doing them all, and I'm not somebody who can easily picture things when their eyes are closed. Like I just can't like imagine like the garden, you know how they always talk about like a really nice garden. Like I couldn't just imagine that. My brain just doesn't really do that. What really works for me are affirmations, just in terms of meditation and feeling calm. Like affirmations are really great for me. I really like them, but I'm not good at like picturing things. So I really struggled to like connect, and I felt like my spirit guide was like telling me that I wasn't ready. I felt like I wasn't ready, because that's also what people always say. They're like, if you don't see anything, then you're just not ready, and blah 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 blah. But that's a load of bullshit, you guys. Like, let me tell you, everything you need is within you. That's like an affirmation that I've heard. Oh my god, I don't remember from where, but that's an affirmation. But it's true. Everything you need is within you. Literally, for my spiritual journey, I mean, during the shrooms, I literally had this realization that like I thought like my spirit guide is like my conscious, like my subconscious, or like my consciousness. Like, you know, the voice you hear inside when you need an answer, or when you need guidance, or when somebody's warning you, or you just get a bad feeling. Like, my spirit guide, that was literally my spirit guide. I was literally asking myself questions, and then the answer would be like bloop right there. And then no self-doubt, no like, oh, are you sure? No, just easily bloop right there, moving on, next question. Like, I can't even explain. I feel like I'm not making sense, but it doesn't matter. Like, it was the craziest experience ever. It was so clear cut. I didn't have any doubts about myself. Okay, sorry, my phone ended up losing, or was full of storage. I didn't have room on my phone, so my video stopped, but now I'm back. Where was I? I don't remember, but the point is, I think I was somewhere around feeling like I didn't have the magic within me. You do. You literally have the magic within you. You don't need anything. Also, you don't have to follow the rules. There are no rules to spirituality. Okay, there are some, but like, I don't know any of them. The only ones that I thought I knew was that you needed all this stuff, and that meditation you have to do with your eyes closed, completely still, with your mind blank. Wrong, you don't. I think my sister is telling me about something like mindfulness meditation, which you can do where like your mind can still be full of stuff. It's just stuff that's good and positive and makes you happy, and like things that make you think about yourself in a great way, and things that you need. And so I basically have just like, I don't know, I feel like my world's changed. This video it just feels so chaotic and very unhelpful to anybody who's looking for real answers. But let me just say, like, you know what? You've just got to try it for yourself in terms of shrooms and spirituality. You just got to go on your own journey. Oh, another thing I realized, my ancestors are everywhere. Like, I always thought that, like, I've always like asked for signs and like wanted to hear like a voice, and like wanted to literally see them, because I'm like, where are you guys? Like, can I meet you? Can I know what you look like? Blah blah blah. When I was on shrooms, I went onto my dad's balcony because I wanted to be like around nature, but I didn't want to go outside because I was kind of nervous about that. So I just went onto his balcony, and I literally saw my ancestors everywhere. First of all, I saw them in the trees. I also saw animals. Not like animals, like I saw heads of animals. Like I saw a shark. I saw a wolf, several wolves. I saw an elephant, one small elephant. I saw dragons, kind of like the Chinese dragon illustrations. Like that's kind of the dragons that I saw. Not like the Game of Thrones dragons. Um, and but I feel like those might have been my ancestors too. Not like literally, but like maybe they were like coming in that form, you know? I don't know. I just saw them everywhere. And I didn't have a doubt in my mind that those weren't my ancestors. And they didn't look like people's faces do today. Like they looked like drawings. Some of them looked kind of funny. Some of them looked like cartoonish, like, but they were all in like. Okay. My phone is fully out of storage, so I have to film on my computer. Completely different quality, I know. I am sorry. I hope this is okay. I'm sorry. I also feel like the sound is going to be much different, but it's okay. If anything, this video is just for me and my little memories. So, anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I saw my ancestors everywhere. I saw them in the sky, I saw them in the trees, I saw them in the building. I went through a lot of phases of thinking while I was on shrooms about the world. Like, I started off thinking about like nature, and I was like, nature's superior. Buildings are ugly. Plastic is ugly. I hate everything that that humans have created. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's a horrible line of thinking. First of all, it's rude because humans have created a lot of cool things too. But nature is very amazing, and it is kind of at the top for me. But there's nothing wrong with what like buildings and like I used to like use these terms like high vibration and low vibration. But then I was like, is that not just another hierarchy but in the spiritual world instead? And aren't we supposed to be trying to get away from that? And I was like, I remember I caught myself thinking about this piece of plastic and I was like, low vibration. It's not as pretty to look at as the trees. But then I was like, but like, what is that? Because plastic is still made out of things and that has energy. And I saw faces or I saw things with the plastic, like it had life. And so it was like, I didn't have a reason to doubt or to disrespect it or be mean to it, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just felt really ugly being like, these things aren't as high vibrational and aren't as deserving of reward and beauty and, you know, being looked at and being talked about. You know, obviously plastic is bad for the environment. So in that way, yeah, it's bad. But in itself, like, it doesn't deserve to be treated as like trash, because that's exactly how we got to the point where we're at, where people just throw it on the ground and ruin the earth and pollute. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Anyways, I was just like, why are there these hierarchies? Why is something low vibrational and why is this high vibrational? And like I was thinking about like your higher consciousness. I even had a conversation with that with my sister, and she even brought this up. She's like, why is it your higher consciousness? Because when I think I tapped into my higher consciousness while I was on shrooms, but it wasn't like, it's not higher than you. It's yourself. Like, it's within you. And I know what they mean. It's like an elevated form of you. It's your mind is, you're more enlightened or you're more aware or whatever. But I do think that words matter, especially with the world that we live in. Hierarchies are everything. And I think it's important because people feel like they can't reach these things and they have to work to get these things and like it's not within them and that they don't already have it. You are already your higher self. You are high vibrational or whatever. And sometimes you can be low vibrational, and that's just life. And like, it doesn't make you less, you know, enlightened or aware or whatever. I feel like the spiritual community gatekeeps. And it's weird because spirituality is not one of those things that you can really gatekeep. It belongs to everybody. It belongs to everything. We all have spirits. We are all spiritual beings. We all have energy. You can gatekeep if you have a certain culture and they talk about things a certain way and like, you know, then that's your thing. But in terms of just like spirituality, everybody is deserving of knowing what they possess and knowing how they can live in this world and what this world can be for them. It doesn't just have to be capitalism and sexism and racism and all this shit that makes life so depressing and horrible. Um, and I just, yeah, because I remember I just felt so disconnected. I didn't feel disconnected from my spirituality, but I just felt really behind and like an outsider. And like I didn't know what I was talking about um, in terms of, I'm guessing just in terms of like, you know, being a spiritual person. I felt like I had so much to learn, and I do have a lot to learn, but not in that sense, you know, like it's like I don't need to watch all these people's videos um and like buy all these things and take all these courses. Like it's all within you. I have a lot of internal work to do, and it's nice to talk to people about their experiences and what they know and learn from them, but not in a way where it's like this is something that like only they can teach you and you can't learn on your own. Like you can do, like if you don't have anybody around you and you don't have any crystal shops near you and you don't have all the, or you can't afford it, or you just don't have the time or whatever to do all that, you can still be your fullest, most happy, joyful, manifesting whatever you want, spiritual self. You don't need anything. And like I think it's weird, and it's capitalism seeping in to try and make it seem like you need all these things, and like you have to buy these things, and you have to do this, and you have to do this a certain way. And my sister even brought up how like it's almost like in some spiritual circles within the spiritual community, like it's kind of like religion with all of these rules and like restrictions and like things you can't do and things you can't do. Even with like the whole like veganism thing and having to eat a certain way, you know. Like I remember one person being like, you just won't be on a higher vibration if you eat meat. And that's just weird because there are people who need to eat meat, and there are cultures and whole communities that just eat meat because that's what they do. And like if you have a moral thing about it, then like fine, have your moral thing. But it's weird to tell somebody that they just won't be able to reach this level of life because they don't do these certain things. Like you can't gatekeep spirituality, in my opinion. It's just not one of those things that should ever be gatekept. And I think that that's what makes people feel like outside of it, like an outsider, basically. And I was like trying to get in, but I wasn't able to meditate correctly. So I felt like, and then I was told I wasn't ready because I wasn't able to meditate in the way that we were supposed to meditate or whatever. So I had that whole conversation. And I had that realization, and I was like, girl, I was like, oh my God, well, this is great. It was very affirming for me because I was like, well, yeah, this makes sense. And like, no, I am ready, and blah, blah, blah. And like, I've already met my freaking spirit guide and my ancestors, and they're all right there, and it's not how I imagined it. And everybody's different. So some people actually do see their spirit guides, and that's really cool. And I would lie if I was saying I wasn't a little bit jealous. But like, doesn't make your experience less than, doesn't make you less than, doesn't mean you're on a lower vibration, whatever. Same with like opening your third eye. I thought opening your third eye, and this might just be on me, like I might just be like a wild imagination thinker. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I thought when you open your third eye, you would like start to see spirits everywhere, and like you might like see a dragon or something. Like I don't know what I thought. I just thought it was like that. But like I feel like I had my third eye wide open when I was on shrooms, and I feel like what I saw was, it was magical and it was the spirit world, but in a way that felt very natural to me. I will say one thing that was super prominent to me is that when I looked up into the sky, I saw my ancestors. I saw a lot of spirits. I feel like I saw gods, but not in the way that you would think. Like I didn't see like facial features or anything like that. Maybe I just felt it, but I saw stuff. But I saw like faces in the clouds and things like that. I don't know what it would have looked like if it was a cloudless night because it was very cloudy that night. So that, you know, had an effect on my experience. Oh my God, I can't even describe it. I had so many experiences, and they're all in my head, and they're getting like jumbled up. But what was my point? Oh, when I looked into the sky is when I felt most like, oh wow, like I'm experiencing the world in a different way than I usually do. And I almost felt like I was coming outside of my body. Like I kind of felt like I was going to astral project. Like I thought I was literally going to leave my body and like I wasn't sure how to get back in, so I was scared, so I looked away. But I would look up sometimes and like see how long I could last staring at it. And the longer I looked at the sky, the more I felt like I was literally coming outside of myself, which was a really interesting experience. And sorry, there's just a little bit of noise. I don't want to have that interrupt. I wonder if I can just. Anyways, so yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so when I looked into the sky, I felt the most spiritually pulled. And it did kind of scare me. And I got this understanding that what was in the sky was something I was not ready for. And something that I wouldn't be ready for until I died. Like, that felt like the spirit realm more like solidly. Like, it was something I was not allowed to go to, or that I really shouldn't be going to unless I'm very skilled and I understand what I'm getting myself into. And I did not, because I'm not skilled and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So, but it was like a natural understanding that I should probably just calm down when it comes to that. I don't know how to describe it, but it literally, like, when I tell you I felt like there was one point where I felt like I was dancing for gods. Like, I was like a little, like I was their entertainment and I was like dancing for them. And like, I felt like if I looked too deeply into the sky, they would pull me up. Like, I don't know. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense. It was a beautiful feeling, but it was scary. And it wasn't something I would do again without preparation, without looking into what that means. I haven't looked up what that means yet. Still need to do a lot of research about all of the things I've experienced to see if other people have experienced them. I'm sure they have, and like get their takes on that. But that was a thing, and it was very prominent to me. Like, the sky is filled with a lot of spiritual energy, and it's intense, and it's amazing. It's incredible, but it's a lot. What else? Oh, I got confirmation. Oh, okay. So there was a time when I was really hungry, so I decided I needed to like. So let me first talk about how much I took. I took 2.5 grams in total, but at first I only took, I don't know what that would be split up. Hold on. So I took 2.5 grams in total, but in the very beginning I only took 2 pieces of the 5 pieces that I had, which would be 500 milligrams. So I took 1,000 milligrams at first. I don't know why I couldn't do that in my head. I took 1,000 milligrams at first, and then like a few hours later I took the rest, which was 1,500. So when I took that, what was I saying? Oh, after I took the rest, I got hungry, so I sat down and I ate a potato. And I hadn't been really looking at my phone other than to play my meditation music. But other than that, I really hadn't been on my phone. But at that point, I decided to sit down and watch this TikTok that my sister sent me, because she was like, we were all doing different things. Like, one of my sisters was doing like an art piece. My other sister was like writing in her journal and talking, and I was doing my dancing. And like, I feel like I was doing like Tai Chi. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing like a lot of this, and like, I don't know. I am a Cancer, so maybe my crab-like instincts were like coming out, because I was doing a lot with my arms. But what am I saying? But basically, I'm sorry, I'm just losing track of thought. I'm losing my mind a little bit, because I can't think of what I was just saying. Oh my god, okay, right, so I sat down. I don't know why I just sat down. Anyways, I sat down, I was eating my potato, and I was watching a TikTok. And then at some point, I was just watching one TikTok, or maybe I watched like a few, and then my phone just shut down the app, and I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, like, and I don't know if that was a spiritual sign, so I just like didn't go back on TikTok. But I decided to just like play my meditation music and stare at like this tapestry that my dad has on the wall. And you guys, I was staring at the tapestry, and I saw my future self. And she was just sitting there, and she was doing a lot of things. I mean, I was. First of all, she looked like this woman that I see all the time in Kensington Market that I've literally said several times I feel like is either an ancestor or like my spirit, one of my spirits, or like I feel like we're connected. I've said that to people several times. People laugh at me when I say that. But guess what I saw? I saw her. I saw her. She looked like an oracle. She was like in like this really beautiful plush like garden. It was nighttime. It was like in a field. She had long locks, gray locks, and she was like mapping out like things. Like she looked like she was an oracle, and like I don't know what that means. I just kept saying that. Let me Google what an oracle is, because I know what an oracle is, but I don't. You know when you know what something is, but you don't. That's kind of what it is for me. Anyways, I saw her. She was dancing. She was dancing with the ancestors, with my ancestors at one point. I felt her like dancing to the sky, like how I would dance if I was just like dancing freely. And she was, what does an oracle do? Hello? And she was like predicting things, and my sisters were there too, but I didn't see what they looked like. I just knew that they were there. It was like I time jumped. It was like I time traveled. But I knew I didn't, because I was still me, and I was still seeing like my actual dad's apartment. But like I also wasn't. Like I was seeing, like I looked at the tapestry and I was seeing other things. I don't know how to describe it. I feel like I sound ridiculous. But what does the oracle do? Who is an oracle? Okay, the definition of an oracle is a person with great wisdom or someone believed to have communication with a deity. An example of an oracle is someone who has conversations with God, one who communicates a divine command, an angel, a prophet. Okay, that's interesting. So like I said, I believe in several gods. I have my own. I don't know if I really. Sometimes I talk to God. I guess the one that I was raised with. Most times I talk to my ancestors, usually to my women ancestors because I feel more connected to them, and the universe, and my spirit guide more recently, which I guess is internal. But what was I saying? I saw myself. I saw my future self, my older self. She was happy. She was living her best life. She lived in nature like I've always wanted. And yeah, and then I started dancing. Like I was already dancing, but I started dancing like more how I usually dance. Before I was dancing like this, like I was like doing this a lot. But I started like dancing, and I saw myself as a fairy in like a very beautiful plush garden. I saw lots of vibrant blues and purples, and I was like, I was like, this is lit. First of all, I've always felt like a fairy, but I literally was a fairy. I don't know how to tell you because I didn't have like wings, but I was a fairy. It was the strangest experience. I don't even know how to describe it. And then I started asking myself questions about what I wanted answered. Like I would ask myself about my future because I really love writing, and I want to be a playwright, and I am a playwright. And right before this, I had made a lot of intentions because it was the full moon. That was my first time ever doing like I guess a full moon ritual. But I did one, and it was really exciting. And I wrote down all the things that I wanted. And then I guess I realized what I wanted changed after Shrooms, because I had a realization, or several realizations, and I don't know. You guys are so messy. It's all over the place, but I guess that's just natural. I just felt so many things, and I want so many different things now, but I also want the same things. I still am a playwright, and I want my plays to be everywhere and for people everywhere to see them. and for them to be super accessible, because theater right now is not very accessible. It's super expensive and it's kind of treated as like an elitist thing. Um, and that's weird because like performance and art is like one of the most natural things ever. Like everybody should be able to have access to it. But whatever. But what's my point? Yeah, just like my ideas around success and happiness and everything changed. And like, I don't know, like my happiness now is like I just want to buy a home on a really beautiful piece of land where there is nature all around me, kind of like I'm thinking like Pixie Hollow, The Hobbit. That's where I was. That's where I was when I was on shrooms. Like I'm not even lying to you. That's what I saw all around me. It was literally like Pixie Hollow. Pixie Hollow more so, but The Hobbit in terms of like what my home would be like a nice cute little cottage. Like that's my happy place. Um, and I want to travel and meeting the love of my life. Like I have the same priorities, but I guess a little bit different. And I guess that's because of how I see the world now. I don't know. I do know. I'm just saying I don't know because it still sounds crazy to me. And oh, I should probably look at the list that I wrote down for this video, which I'm not following. But one of the things I wrote down was to only talk about this, about your experiences and your dreams and your desires when it comes to spirituality, with people who are kind and open minded and aren't going to make you feel weird or like you're crazy or like you're a little bit like, oh, like she's a little dumb, you know? Because this is a very special experience, and especially what you experience on shrooms. And you don't want it to be tainted with self doubt that other people put in because they haven't seen the road that you've seen, you know? And I'm even like taking caution because I know I'm going to put this on YouTube, but I'm like, there's trolls everywhere you go and mean people, and they could upload things that, or comment things that would make me feel weird, but it doesn't matter. And you know your experience, and it's just important that you get the takeaways from what you experienced. Whether you end up having a good trip or a bad trip, there's always something to learn. With me, I had a really, really, really good trip, a beautiful trip, and all. The come down from it was fine, but then the next day I felt really sad and I felt really depressed. So that's something that you might experience. I got myself through it by like locking myself in the bathroom and saying a bunch of affirmations. And after that, I actually felt really good. But I will say I was really sad for like the morning after. Was it the morning after? It might have been like the first 2 days afterwards. I just kind of was feeling sluggish and slow and sad because I was like, I'm not going to get back there. But you can get back there. That's what I was going to also say. Shrooms doesn't add anything to you that you don't already have. It only reveals. That's why I said it wasn't really like you were high, like you are with weed. Like, you just saw your life for what it's actually supposed to be. You saw the human experience for what it's actually supposed to be. And you don't deal with any of the stresses and the anxieties and the depression that you might experience when you're not on shrooms. Because, you know, we are human and we go through emotions and all that. So you're going to experience that. But on shrooms, you don't. And it's such a beautiful thing because you don't doubt yourself and you don't question things that should be. You just let them be and you accept the answers. And when you get an answer to your questions, accept it. Write it down if you need to. I didn't write much down because, to be honest, I just didn't think about doing that. Don't do anything that doesn't feel natural. So if writing doesn't feel natural to you, don't write down. But write it down if you want to. And just be very open. And what else? You have nothing to fear. You're very safe. I don't know, so be careful when you're taking it. If you might be allergic to mushrooms or whatever, so just do your cautionary stuff that you would do with anything. But don't be afraid. It's really not super scary. To me, it wasn't a scary experience. It's actually just very calming. And memorize what makes you happy. Whatever you do during that time that gives you joy, do that outside of the shrooms too. If dancing, like me, gives you joy, which I did during shrooms and I felt incredible, do that outside of shrooms too. Do whatever is revealed to you as something that is essential to your joy and to your empowerment in life. You don't need shrooms to live a happy life, to live a spiritual life, to feel like yourself, to feel like whatever your inner child. I'm guessing, to me, it felt like that was what shrooms revealed, maybe like your inner child. You don't need that, you know. It reveals, like I said, but it's already within you. You have to train your mind and you have to, put into action in your life all the things that you want, and you can easily. It just takes some practice, and obviously because of the world we live in, it takes time and intentions, a lot of intentional actions, but you can do it. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say for now. This is a long video, but I'm glad I just got this all out. It was nice to just kind of talk about my experience. And I guess I'll be back on here later to say something else if I have something else to say. So have a great day, and I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the sun and, well, it's cloudy now, so the nice warm weather and the nature and the silence. So yeah, I hope if you end up taking shrooms that you have a really great experience and you learn a lot about yourself, and it's really positive and a beautiful time for you. And if you're on a spiritual journey, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope that it's really fulfilling and magical, and that you find your magic, because it's right within you. We all have it. Yeah, so have a great day, night, whatever time it is when you're watching this. Goodbye.